President Trump's trade deal deadline came and went at midnight, putting higher tariffs on most nations, now in effect. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. Good morning to you, Alice. The president pushing this start date to the tariffs until August 7th. How steep are they, and why did he kick the can down the road a little bit for a few more days on this?
Yeah, so we're looking now at a wide range of tariffs. It's from the 10 to 15% range on the lower end, 15 for a lot of countries. And then some are soaring up to 30, 40, even 50% in the case of Brazil. And some of these were agreements that were we knew a little bit more about in the lead up. But some of them are just sort of unilateral tariffs that the president sent out letters or just told the countries this is what they're going to have to pay in tariffs in order to continue doing business with the United States. Now, what we had been hearing over and over leading up until today is that August 1st was a hard and fast deadline. This is when, the tariffs were going to take effect, and that's the end of it. So it's a little bit confusing that now we're seeing that the revenue is not going to actually start coming in until August 7th. The president says that it's not a delay, but rather it's a sort of a buffer window to allow all the mechanisms time to get caught up that are going to be involved in actually enforcing these tariffs. So that's his explanation. There were a couple changes under the wire, and it is just in keeping with the fact that there's been a lot of adjusting and last-minute sort of changes all along throughout this tariff strategy. And I think that's fair to say that's part of President Trump's objective here is he wants to keep other countries on their toes, and he doesn't see a problem with having things, shift and change at the last minute. I think it's part of the overall pressure campaign and approach and how he's, trying to get the best possible deal, certainly, as he would say, out of other countries.
Yeah, speaking of keeping a country on their toes, Canada getting slammed, 35%. Traditionally, Canada has been a traditionally friendly ally for us. Why are they bearing so much of the brunt of these tariffs?
Yeah, it's true. This has been one that we've been talking about a lot because there's been, a lot of escalation on both sides and a lot of tensions brewed up by this trade war back and forth between here and our neighbor to the north, our friendly neighbor to the north. So they're now looking at a 35% tariff, and President Trump was asked what's it going to take for them to get that lowered, and he just said it's about fairness. He said that it has not been an equal trade relationship. He pointed specifically to Canada. He said not being good to American farmers, not bringing in enough agricultural products from the U.S. So he talked also about the leadership, which I think was interesting. We know that he kind of clashed with the former Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, and it's been a more progressive administration to the north. And the new prime minister is also a liberal, Mark Carney. There has been some signs of his warming up a little bit with President Trump, but he noted again he doesn't like the leadership in Canada. So there may be some political, involvement there, and he certainly wants to see Canada come with something that sways him and makes him want to cut a deal there. Mexico is getting a pause. China is getting a pause. Those are the other big outstanding ones, but right now Canada is not.
Yeah, I think you mentioned about the interview that you guys had with him over the phone and with NBC News. Any more coming out of that interview?
Yeah, President Trump talked about this $26 billion in tariff revenue that the Treasury Department noted for last month. And he said that's just the beginning. He says there are going to be hundreds of billions of dollars worth of revenue brought in through the tariffs. The question, though, of who's paying for it, because the money really comes from U.S. businesses paying more to import materials and goods from abroad, and then often, again, passing added costs on to customers. Though in that same phone interview, President Trump said the only prices that are spiking are the hundreds of billions of dollars coming in to the U.S.
All right. Alice Barr, thanks so much for your insight. Thank you.